Hey traders, checking in on the stock market today. So we had the fear follow through. We got pretty much everything we were looking for yesterday. Yesterday we had the red flags on QQQ as far as the inability to break resistance. We were watching for daily lower highs, which did get confirmed. We were watching for the airliners to get a bounce this morning, which we got, and the financial sector as well. So let's check on everything now, as we are definitely seeing some fear return to the market. So just a recap of yesterday, it was the weakness in QQQ after the inability to break daily resistance. We're looking at the NASDAQ futures chart here that had us watching for the lower high. The low of yesterday was a key support level. We opened the day above that level, which gave the bears a bit of a chance to re-enter or position themselves. We broke the low of Friday. Nope, we broke the low of yesterday, and now we're looking at the low of Friday as a key level. If the low of Friday breaks, bearish. The lower highs and lower lows continue, and we're looking back at that low. For QQQ and the correlated names, there are three setups to be watching. You can categorize things. Names that are still holding the low of Friday, names that broke the low of Friday and are still holding the low of March, and names that have broken the low of March. Roku has broken the low of March. QQQ is holding the low of Friday. NIO and Tesla have broken the low of Friday, but they're holding the low of March. So they're your Goldilocks setups. Stronger, middle of the road, and weakest. So it's all about the low of Friday from here. On SPY, let's look at the S&P 500 futures chart. The inside bars broke bearish, and if the low of Friday breaks, we confirm a daily downtrend. From there, we zoom out, and we would be scouting a weekly higher low compared to 37.22. But again, a new all-time high straight into a loss of the daily uptrend. Never ideal, and I would then be watching for the potential of monthly consolidation. We have a lot of names that are seeing monthly consolidation already, and we got to be watching for the potential of the S&P 500 to see it as well if QQQ breaks the low of March. So that's going to be key. What other setups did we have? Yesterday we were watching for the airliners and XLF to bounce. So I exited all of my XLF short yesterday into the end of the day, knowing that I'd be looking in the other direction today. We opened higher, saw a bull move to start the morning very significantly, but we didn't change the hourly trend bullish. XLF, big move off the low of yesterday, but then dropped right back down towards that low. Still holding it at the moment, but an hourly trend change is needed for any bounce follow through. With that strength this morning, however, we saw our airliners bounce on the hourly. 53.85 to 57, significant bounce, but we didn't get the gap down I wanted, so I did not play any of these bounces. The trade did not come to me, and I didn't like the setup. The bounce didn't last long. It was just an hourly lower high, and here we are back down at the lows. There was bearish news on the cruises getting a rejection from the CDC for what they were looking for, and then the airliners dumped with it. So back down to the lows. Very short-lived bounce. Other than that, I'll go into my trades at the end of the day. Had a really good day trading today in both directions. From here, what do we got? IWM showed us a lot of weakness yesterday. I'm assuming that followed through. I don't keep an eye on IWM during the regular trading day. Big bear drop, increasing bear volume, 207.21, the low of March, back in play. To V-shape to a new all-time high, and then to give this much back is obviously a big red flag. There is a potential playoff of 207.21, but even if we change the hourly trend, a lot of names dumped today, so on any bounce, we're looking for an hourly lower high. If we change the hourly trend, we're zooming out and looking for a daily lower high. Again, it's a notable pullback from the new all-time high. So XLF, daily bounce attempt is very weak. It's a potential little bear flag. So bears are in control there. We did not confirm an hourly trend change. The bulls would have to hold 33.04 and break 33.80 to confirm an hourly trend change. And obviously with the weak close, that is not what we are looking at as a most likely scenario. Healthcare held up today for the most part, but closed weak. What are we seeing? Pattern? 2 days in a row where the last hour and a half, bears really take over. What else are we seeing? Overnight bullish action. So it's almost a point in favor of the bears for me. The fact that overnight, when there's no real volume at play, we're going up. And then once the real volume comes into play during the trading day, we're dropping. So XLV, daily inside bar, but we're watching that low of 114.03. And if that low breaks, again, we're going to see weakness out there. And we'll be watching for the potential of all of our major sectors to be at the lows at the same time if we see QQQ break the low of Friday, XLF break the low of yesterday, and XLV break the low of Monday. So a couple short-term support levels lining up on all our major sectors to be watching tomorrow. Biotech sector is getting absolutely smashed. 2-day falling apart. And it almost looks like that bulls exited after the dividend was distributed. They stood out stronger on Monday, and then just a complete 180 turnaround and a massive 10% drop in 2 days. That is huge. So just like that, this is one of the weaker names in the sense that we broke the low of Friday, and now we're looking back at the low of March, 128.44. I'll be watching for the potential of a bounce play off that level as the hourly RSI is just absolutely crushed. But bears have firm control of the biotech sector. Again, a lot of names are showing a lot of weakness on the daily chart, but they are also showing a ton of space for monthly higher lows. So don't lose sight of that fact that monthly higher lows, even if we do break the lows of March, will be the most likely scenario in a ton of names. But what we're setting up for is a massive amount of volatility, which we're getting, But what do we see after massive volatility? Tightening ranges. The market may get boring the second half of 2021. So another wave of fear. Let's say we see another leg down. We look for the monthly high or low. Once we set it, we look for the monthly low or high. Next thing you know, we're in the third quarter of 2021 in tightening monthly ranges. So I'm keeping an eye out for that to be a possibility as well. And if we see monthly tightening ranges, I will personally tighten up my trading because, again, tightening ranges are when I pump the brakes, and breaks of tightening ranges and increase in volatility and volume are when I pump the gas. So even though we're seeing weakness, again, look at NIO. And we saw Chinese-related names just dump today. EV names in China, huge weakness. So NIO, even if 3191 breaks, look at the monthly chart. We have forever to form a monthly high or low. And then forever to form a monthly low or high as far as amount of space in both directions. So even though fear is picking up, if you are looking long-term, keep those monthly charts on watch. Baby step number 1 for monthly higher lows forming are daily trend changes. And we were watching for it on this March dump. And we did not change daily trends. Bulls did not prove it. Great bounce off the lows, absolutely. 50%, big time. No follow through. So I'm going to be watching monthly charts and daily charts. Short-term guide on the daily, big picture mindset on the monthly. And again, just looking at other Chinese EV names, look at XPEV, huge dump, huge bear volume. LI, huge dump in bear volume. Even Baba and Baidu, big red days out there. So that was a common theme in the Chinese names. What else we got? XLV we did, XBI, SMH. Low of Friday in play. If 228.80 breaks, we look to the low of March, 216.14. And again, lower high and lower low if that level breaks. And then we zoom out to the weekly. Our weekly lower high is set if that's the case. And then we have the potential to confirm a weekly downtrend with all the space in the world for a monthly higher low. When an entire sector runs 150% with no monthly consolidation over the span of almost an entire year, monthly consolidation is not surprising. Solar sector has already been giving us weakness. Lower highs and lower lows continue. Low of March, 80.80 back in play. Just a clear daily downtrend. Keep it simple. It's a downtrend. Bulls have to prove it, and they have not done so at any point in the last month. MSOS exited some of my position today. We had, let's go to the daily. We've got, again, continued bearish action. We're looking for a higher low to try and form compared to 40.80. There are weekly head and shoulders all over the place in the sector, which would lead to monthly consolidation. And again, a lot of the USMJ names have not seen monthly consolidation in 500+%. But I exited. There was a news spike, a sell the news event on New York reaching an agreement for legalization. But we've been getting those headlines all last week. And we would see little bumps, bull pumps on those headline reactions 3 times. So exited into this strength in the 44s anticipating the potential of a sell the news, and that significantly reduces my exposure, which is nice because I've literally spent the last 3 days where every day is just a constant battle of day trading to try and offset my swing trading losses in metals and USMJ. So that's going to be an easier task now that I have less exposure. The VIX, daily bear flag with no follow through. Let's see if we can get a bull break of 23.20, which would be a shift in short-term momentum. And again, we've seen brief moments of all of our major sectors at the lows at the same time. We have not seen your massacre day where, our big names drop 4 to 5%, and we have the day seeing all of our names at the lows. So that's something to keep an eye out for. But if that doesn't happen, we're not going to see these massive green candles like we've seen in the recent past, just one-off big breaks. Dollar, bull break. That's contributing to the weakness. Daily bull break into continuation. 4-hour uptrend, plenty of space for a higher low to form. Next resistance level. From here, I'm looking up at 92.80 and then 93.21. And again, every higher high we see is just more space on the monthly for a monthly higher low to try and form once we top out. But no sign of a top. Gold. 4-hour time frame for clarity. Just since the FOMC, I'm watching this pattern. A little bit of a 4-hour falling wedge. Bulls hope it breaks bullish, but watching this for the rest of the week, and we should get a break before the weekend. Silver remains weaker. 4-hour lower high set on this morning bounce. Right back at the lows. Bulls have to change the 4-hour trend to prove anything, and they have been unable to do so for the entire week. Miners closed weak yesterday, closing weak again today. Again, just a big sell-off in miners. Closed the low 3 days in a row. Right back to the March lows. 44 is the next level. If it breaks, bear flag on the weekly is confirmed. Oil, daily bear flag confirmed with no follow-through. Bulls are going to be watching for an inverse head and shoulders. I like it better on the 12-hour. This is the left shoulder. This is the head. This is the right neckline. If we fail 62.04, and then we're looking for a 12-hour higher low, bulls will be watching for an entry because oil is looking for a weekly higher low, and we just confirmed a daily bear flag with a big bounce right after it. So if we can change that 12-hour trend back to the bulls, odds of our weekly higher low being set will increase. And that's a good reason why XLE held on a bit better today because of oil when you compare XLE and XLF. Very similar, but oil helping the energy sector more than the financial sector, of course. Natural gas, still a daily bear flag. Not much going on, but the burden of proof is on the bulls, and they're not proving anything. So remaining weak. I'm watching for bounce plays tomorrow, if I feel like trading. We'll see what the open gives us. NIO crushed on the hourly. Watching for a potential playoff of 31.91. Again, I'd love a gap down open. Not sure if we're going to get it. We'll see if the trade comes to me or not. So trades that I took today. I spent this morning watching QQQ get absolutely smashed on the shorter term time frames. So again, I switched where yesterday I exited all of my financial sector short and I swung my QQQ short. So this morning when the 5-minute RSI got down into the single digits, I started scaling out of my QQQ short. And I said to myself, okay, rather than try and play this bounce, I'm just going to exit my short and then look to re-enter it. We then saw this drop. I exited my short. A little bit early, but pleased with how it played out. And then I tried to play this bounce. And I sold a small bit on this 5-minute lower high. And then I stopped out on the 5-minute bear flag. And I was fine with that, keeping that loss very, very small. And then you could look at this and say I missed the bounce. But what I did is I shifted my focus. So covered my QQQ short. Failed pretty much a break even or small loss on QQQ long, and then on that second leg down, I then said, all right, I'm going to NIO. Good old NIO. We have a great history together. Lots of gains in both directions, and I played the NIO bounce. And I scaled in. I forget exactly what my levels were. I did a lot of trading today, a lot of micromanaging, but scaled in, And then my target was 15-minute EMA 12, but I did not like how this bounce was a straight 2.5% bounce with no 5-minute trend change. I said, okay, that's extended enough. And then I had a clue. If you look at what QQQ was doing, and again, I'm just staring at NIO and QQQ as this bounce is playing out. This candle right here at 11:05 started to show me a bearish correlation to QQQ. Because at that point in time, 11:05, QQQ was right here. This is the 11:05 candle, a higher high. And knowing that QQQ is looking for a 15-minute lower high, I saw QQQ trade sideways and then see a new high of the day. And while that was happening, NIO was pulling back. I sold in the 39.40s before my target, noticing that little shift. And it was a really good exit there because that was the top. And then I knew, okay, if QQQ is looking for a 15-minute lower high, it hasn't topped out yet, and QQQ is already, NIO is already showing me signs of topping out. I know that when QQQ tops out, NIO is only going to pull back further and harder. So I exited to lock in those gains, and then what I did is flip back to shorting QQQ. Re-entered my short, scaled in a little early at 317, second entry in the upper 317s, watching for a 15-minute lower high compared to the high of the day, and that entry was perfection, and I wrote it, and I'm still holding it now into the close overnight. So QQQ short was to offset my longs all 2 weeks ago. XLF short was to offset my longs for the last week, and now it's back to QQQ short to offset my longs. And my longs are getting smaller and smaller as I'm shedding positions. And one other trade that I took was shout out to Mr. F, posted the headline that the CDC was rejecting whatever I don't even know what the cruise liners wanted from CDC. Cure COVID, I'm sure, but whatever they did, they rejected, and it was bearish. So Mr. F posts the news. I pull up the chart. I watch the 1-minute time frame. I see a 1-minute volume climax after dropping 6 to 7% in 5 minutes. And I entered bullish on the volume climax at 82. I sold in the low 83s, a little bit early, doesn't matter. Entered it short on the 1-minute EMA 12 rejection. Sold $1 lower. Again, a little bit early. I'm not nailing tops and bottoms, but I'm making money in both directions. And that trade put my account back at all-time highs, so I owe Mr. F a beer. And other than that, it was a really good day. So the last 2 days have been frustrating for me because I've done well trading, day trading. I've had only wins and break-even or tiny losses day trading, yet my account went down 2 days in a row because of my swing positions. I wasn't able to offset them with my day trading gains. So today I was able to offset them because I traded QQQ really well and because I did get some NIO bounce, and then that RCL trade exited MSOS on the pop. So I'm really liking where my positioning is overall with my account and where the market stands and my grip on what to expect in the market in the short term, key levels to be watching, not afraid to play both directions. And that's it. We'll see what tomorrow brings. Low of Friday, very key for QQQ. If low of Friday breaks, we're looking back to the March lows. And again, fear will continue to pick up. Bitcoin just sold off, correlating to the market. So again, fear, we did just hold another triple bottom at 53,000, but a big drop to get there. And I do anticipate 53,000 is more likely to break than not in the short term, which means further weekly consolidation in Bitcoin if it does break. But nice bottom fishing bounces off of that level time and time again recently. There's some fear out there. We'll see if it follows through. Establish your game plans. Establish what time frame matters for you. Again, monthly higher lows are the most likely scenario on a ton of names. That doesn't mean we can't drop to lower lows first. Determine what time frame is most important to you. Determine any longer term game plans if you have them. Honestly, my game plan is just keep day trading because that's what works for me. Have a good rest of your day. Don't forget to do good things. I'm going to end it here. A couple buddies of mine in college are in a band, and musicians need all the help they can get as they try and get the ball rolling here 1 year after things shut down, trying to open things back up again, and certainly difficult to do for musicians. So I'm going to link in the description of this video, their social media stuff, and even just a like and a follow. Any of that helps out as they try and get back in the game. And I'll leave you with some shots around the yard. Have a good rest of your day. And the name of the band is Oak and Ash. So Oak and Ash, they're in New York. Thanks for the support.
All the monsters and the nightmares behind. We can worry, we'll start to build the place we had in mind. You can't stop the moment, straight ahead the sun is shining in our eyes. And this is the moment, let this be the first day of our lives. Chase us anymore. No need to have fear, 'cause freedom just keep knocking at our door.